Hola amigos, bien ok. Y saludos otra vez desde Medellín. El tema de hoy, nosotros vamos a hablar poco con estas dos palabras, up and down. Dos palabras muy común y también como en los otros vídeos recientes, ellas dos palabras nosotros en inglés utilizamos mucho en combinación con otras palabras para construir frases distintos, muchas veces con un sentir muy distinto. Entonces, ese es el tema de hoy. So, hello again. Here we are, back in Medellin. Today, we're going to talk about up and down. Now, obviously, up as in going up and down as in going down, but also we're going to look at this in the way that we combine these two words very often with other words to give us small phrases which we use very commonly, but perhaps might be ones that you're not generally familiar with, and also to look at why this changes perhaps the sense of the other word when we use these words in combination. So first thing to remember, as with lots of these smaller words, once we start using them in combination, often they come with their own kind of, let's say, their own kind of sense. So in this sense, up is generally seen as a positive thing. It's going up. So that kind of motion is generally seen as a positive thing, whereas down is generally seen as a negative thing. So when we link these two together with other words, often what we're seeing is we use the word up, we're trying to express something perhaps more of a positive sentiment. If we use the word down, it tends to be used more in a negative sense. So that should help you, if you're listening for these in other conversations, give you an idea of, okay, where's the person going with this expression? Are they telling me a good thing or a bad thing? So now what we're going to look at it is this group of words here. Now this, I have to say, is in no sense exhaustive. We could have done a huge list of these. I'm just going to pick just this random group here to give you an idea of kind of how these things link together. Some of these are not that common, so hopefully this might be new vocabulary for you. Now, all of these words we can use in combination with up and down. And depending as to whether we use up or down, we get a different sense. In some cases, quite a different meaning from the phrase. So we'll go through these and see how we get on, yeah? Okay. So, first one we got is side. So, side, in this sense, is obviously usually we use side to be like a location. So this is to my left side, to my right side, this kind of thing. Also, should we say, flatter objects have a side, one side, another side, or like a coin. This is the kind of sense we mean here. So we can have an upside, or indeed we could have a downside. So when we talk about an upside or a downside, we're talking about any given situation and whether we see it in a positive, an upside, or a negative, a downside. So something can happen, even something that might look like a bad event, like maybe, I don't know, let's say you've lost your job. So, well, the downside of this, the bad point, the negative aspect of that clearly is, no, I don't have a job and what am I going to do for money? But the upside might be, I'm trying to be positive, the upside of this could be, well, you didn't really enjoy the job anyway, and now you're free to apply and perhaps do that course you wanted to do and make that career change and do a different job in the future. That's looking at the upside or the downside, yeah? Okay, this one you're probably more familiar with, stairs. Obviously stairs in this case got my scholars in your house or in the building. So we go upstairs and we go downstairs. That's a fairly easy one, yeah? Upstairs or downstairs. So really that's just indicating a direction in this case. Not negative or positive, it's just a direction. We're going up or we're going down, like in a lift. Yeah? This next one though, beat. So beat as a word has several different meanings. It can be more of like to hit something violently with a stick, or to punch somebody, that's like to beat them. It's also like the rhythm you get in music, it's the beat. But if we're going to be upbeat, rather like in music, the tempo picks up, there's more energy. So if we're upbeat, we would describe someone as an upbeat kind of person. They're very positive, cheerful, enthusiastic, upbeat. Yeah? Whereas if you're more, that sense, more downbeat, it's kind of the opposite way around. Not so happy. Yeah. Now grade. Grade is a good word really. This one has all kinds of different meanings generally on its own. So grade can be like a level. So you can get a grade, like when you're at school, you're doing an exam, you get a grade on a paper you put in. So it's a way of marking something. A grade is a way of marking or measuring the quality of something. So some materials you buy come in different grades. So sometimes it's a way of measurement, and that also grade is where we then use into the word gradient, como pendente. So if you're driving up a hill, it's very steep, it has a grade, a gradient. But in this case, up or down. So if we say upgrade, this is a word you probably heard, well, I hope perhaps you may have heard, if you go on holiday on the plane and they say, oh, not many seats in economy, but we're going to give you an upgrade. Up to business class, sit in the posh seats, get the free champagne. That's an upgrade. So that's something where you're being taken from a normal level to a much higher level. And the implication generally with this is it's kind of like a freebie, it's something they're giving you as a gift to reward you in some way. That's an upgrade. If we downgrade something, this, not surprisingly, is the reverse. It's a negative of this, so not so good. Sometimes you hear this one when we talk about economics. So often countries, particularly, they get given a grade, like a mark, for whether they're doing well economically or not, or whether that should attract investment. Sometimes that gets downgraded. So they're not seen as such a good place for foreign investment. Ward. Now, ward is a funny word because on its own, a ward is a part of a hospital where you keep the patients, where the patients sleep. That's the ward. There's like a special room in a hospital. Ward, in this sense, that we're going to use it, is a very old word, really meaning direction, as in to ward. We're indicating direction. So in this sense, we're going to use it by putting upward. And notice, actually, once we put this together, we don't say ward anymore. We pronounce it as wood, which is one of our funny pronunciations. What you'll actually hear us say is this: upward. And then the opposite of this is downward. Now notice that's how we say it, but how we spell it is different. Downward, upward. So downward and upward. So we're just indicating direction here. Often we use this particularly as well as actual movement of travel of something, going up or down, is upward or downward. You can see this when they're talking about mathematics, sometimes graphs, economics, where you have an upward curve or a downward curve. And they're showing one of those graphs as where the money's going. Now this next one is a combination word, and out. I'll write it back up here, we can see it's a bit clearer. And out. So and out, okay, but if we put up and out, there's three separate words. Up and out, it's kind of an expression that we're getting up and we're going outside. So we're being quite active. This again has a very positive kind of connotation. We're going to be up and out. So we up we go, up we get, and we go outside to do something. We're going to do something quite positive. However, if we describe a person particularly as down and out, this means effectively that they're homeless and they've lost everything. If you're down and out, this is a way of describing someone who has lost everything, lost their job, their money, their home, and now they're reduced, unfortunately, to living on the streets. They are down and out. It's a very negative connotation with that one. Next one we've got is hill. So hill in the sense of like a small mountain, if you want. So again, this is more of a direction one. So we either go uphill or, unsurprisingly, we go downhill. Very easy, that one, yeah? This word might be a bit different though. Draft. So draft has two real meanings in this sense. One, a draft is a movement of air. It's a movement of air. So sometimes, particularly if you're in a country where it's a bit cold, and maybe someone hasn't quite shut the door properly or shut the window properly, you get, people say, there's a draft, it's really cold where I'm sat here, I can feel a draft of air, can we close the window? Make sure we shut the door. Also draft, if you own a boat, the draft is the amount of water that your boat needs to sit in, it's the amount of water it will displace. That's the draft of the boat. So basically how heavy your boat is how much water it moves out the way to let it float. That's the draft. In this sense though, when we use it with up or down, we're talking again about air flow. So we can have an updraft or a downdraft. So we're looking here at airflow, particularly things like when you have a fire and a chimney, the updraft is the hot air that moves from the fire out of the chimney along with the smoke. That's an updraft. Downdraft is a bit different. That's a different movement of the air, probably higher up in the atmosphere. That's a more problem if you're a pilot. You don't want to get caught in one of those because that's going to really make it difficult for your plane to carry on upwards. So that's updraft or downdraft. Another one of these funny spellings in terms of the sound. Also, obviously, this one is also with wind, upwind, downwind. Now, this is a way of describing your position relative to the direction of the wind. This used to be used more for people who go hunting. So if you're trying to sneak up on your next lunch, you don't really want to be upwind of the animal because then he'll hear you or smell you and you won't be able to get close enough to shoot him. But if you're downwind, he can't hear you and you should be able to sneak up on him a bit easier. But generally that's describing whether you are, where your position is relative to the direction of the wind and the other object. Okay, boil. So we understand boil. If you're making tea or coffee, the water needs to be boiling, very, very hot. However, two ways to use this one. If we boil something up, well, we can boil something up and, like it sounds, that literally means put the things in the water, turn up the heat, let it boil. We've boiled it up. So we've got it to like 100 degrees, we're boiling it. However, if we continue to cook it, and any of you do a lot more cooking than me perhaps, if you boil something down, you concentrate the liquid, because the liquid eventually boils off and you end up with a much smaller amount of the, like a concentrated version of what you started off with, because you're boiling off the liquid all the time and it becomes much more concentrated. So this is to boil down something. The other way we often use this phrase, boil down, is when we're talking about, we've been discussing a topic, often something complicated, like a complicated plot, and for us to summarise what's happened, we can say something like, so what it boils down to, in other words, if we condense this down, all the information we've received, what it boils down to is this. That's a very short answer, a very short summary of the complicated situation. Yeah? So boil up, boil down. Now, my clue with this one, I marked it with an anchor to remind me, this is a nautical, another one if you're on a boat, lie. Now obviously the word lie has different meanings. It could be lie in the sense of mentira, you're telling me a lie, don't lie to me, mentiras, not telling the truth. It could be lie as in go to sleep, which is more what we're going to talk about now. So, the common way to say is we're going to lie down. Go and have a lie down. It means have a rest. And lie down, rest, sleep, this kind of thing, yeah? However, a very unusual phrase for this one, if we say lie up, we say lie up, we don't mean like to get up. It's not the reverse of lying down to have a rest. Lie up we only use if we're talking about a boat. So if you have a boat, excuse my drawing, there we go, there's our boat. If we have a boat and it needs repairs, we have to take it into harbour and it lies up while they fix it, while they repair it. So literally we're taking it out of the water to repair it. In that sense we use the word lie up. Okay, and last one we've got market. So market, usually somewhere we go to buy things. That could be like an actual place where we're going to buy like fruit, vegetables or things like that. Also nowadays this is generally used for anywhere where we sell or trade things. So it could be a virtual market, like a financial market. In the way we're going to use it just in a second, it's more like the property market. So if you're buying and selling houses, we often describe an area, un lugar, as either upmarket or down market. So if you hear someone talking about an area in their town or city and they describe it as upmarket, this means it's expensive, exclusive, has a lot of value financially. If they describe an area in a city or a town as down market, this means that it's not seen as valuable, it's not seen as such a desirable place for people to live. Maybe this would describe it as a place that has more social problems perhaps, but a place that is upmarket is seen as expensive, lots of investment, this kind of thing. Okay, so there we go. A random collection of words and the phrases that go with them, but hopefully again you can see that if once we understand the general interpretation of these words and we see them used often as either a positive thing like up or a negative thing like down, when we start adding them to other words, it's a little bit easier to see the meaning of the phrases we're hearing. Now there are, as I said, for these particular ones, up and down, rather like when we looked at in and out the other day, lots and lots and lots. If you look this up in the dictionary, there are loads of words that start with up or down. it's a common group of phrases. But I hope this one you find helpful, just to help give you an idea of how we often use these together. Again, show you just how flexible this language is. So déjame saber en los comentarios. Enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time. Cheerio for now.